Hi, welcome. I'm going to do a little sequence, a little flow on the focus for the lower back. Um, so I had a request after doing our daily videos for lower back. Um, and I know I wake up almost every day with some kind of lower back or hip pain, just aches, soreness. Yeah, so I do a lot of self care and a lot of movement throughout the day for lower back. So I've put together a little sequence I'm going to move through. You're welcome to practice with me or just watch along and try it later. Um, so, yeah, I'm going to grab some water. So take a moment to set up. We're going to start standing. I have some blocks that I may be using when we do some lunges. So if you want some blocks, grab your blocks and take a moment and then meet me on your mat. All right, we're gonna come into just a regular standing position. Maybe like mountain pose or Tadasana. I always shake my feet out a little bit. So the feet can be hips distance apart, or you can bring the feet closer together. And just take a couple deep breaths here, however you want, in and out of the nose or in the nose, out of the mouth. Nice. And we're going to do a breath exercise here. We're going to link some movement with the breath. So I'm going to begin with the arms straight out in front of me, palms coming together. As I inhale, I'm going to open the arms up, leaning weight into the front of my feet. So squeezing the shoulders together. And then as I exhale, moving back towards my heels, rounding the upper part of the back. So it was like a little standing cat-cow. So give that a try with your breath. Inhaling, coming forward. Trying to keep the arms about shoulder height. Exhaling. Good. And then one more time there. Inhaling, opening up the chest, maybe even gazing up towards the ceiling. And then rounding the back, maybe even dropping the chin down to the heart. That feels good for me. And then we'll stop your practice, shake that off. One more breath movement we're going to do here. And then we'll move into, we'll move into some downward facing dog things. So another movement with the arms and the breath. I'm going to reach the arms up as I inhale. I'm lifting up onto my heels. I'm lifting my heels up. And then exhaling, I'm trying to go and lower down at the same time. So as I inhale, I'm lifting my heels up, my arms up, and then moving with your breath. Slowly going up and down. So inhaling up. Exhaling. Yeah, give that a couple tries with your breath. Inhaling one way. Exhaling the other. I'm going to go one more here. Nice. And then shake that off a little bit. And before we go upside down, I want to do some side bending. So I want to do some movement for the spine. So I was rearranging my mat. My mat is on the carpet here. So come back to your standing space, and we're going to reach the arms up to the sky. Right, so if this feels okay, I'm going to bring the palms together. You can hook the fingers, the thumbs, and then as I exhale, I'm going to lean over to one side. Good. Maybe taking a full breath there, and then coming back up to the center. So I'm going to give you some options on the arms. And so taking your time, inhaling to the center, drawing the navel in a little bit, exhaling, bending over to one side. Maybe taking a full breath there, and then coming back to the center. So some other arms that could be here, we could take one arm up and one hand on the hip. Inhale, lengthening, exhale, folding over there. Right? So listening to the shoulders, or this arm can drop straight down. Sometimes I just do one arm. And gazing down, out, or up, so whatever feels better for your neck. And then whatever arm variation, and you can play with that as well. So try that one more time. Inhaling to the center, exhaling, leaning over to one side. I'm going to come right back up, drawing the navel in, stretching out the spine, and then taking it over to the opposite side. Good. Take your time coming back to the center, and then shake everything off. And we're going to practice a couple forward folds. So we're practicing Uttanasana. I'm going to turn to the side view so you can see. So still in that same standing space from mountain. We're going to inhale and reach up. Exhale, bend your knees and slowly fold over the body. So I'm allowing my belly and chest to come towards the thighs. And then the first few, my knees are bent a little more than usual. And I'm trying to let go of my head. And then whatever feels good on the arms here, letting them dangle, or you can hold on to the elbows. And I'm going to take one more breath here, and then grounding down through the feet, slowly, coming up. I'm going to shake that off, and we're going to do that again. So at your own pace, I'm going to reach up on the in-breath. Exhale, folding forward. Bending the knees as much as you'd like here. So if the backs of the legs are tight, maybe you want to try and bend the knees a little bit more. So you see I'm doing some movement here. I like to take it side to side here. For me that feels good. Bending the knees, letting go of the weight of my head. And then grounding down through the feet. When you're ready, slowly rising up. Okay, I'm going to roll that out, shake that out. Maybe you want to do that one more time. Maybe that's enough for right now. Good. And then we'll come back to the center. So we're going to put that little sequence together, right? So from that standing space, we're going to go into that side bend. I'm going to inhale, reach up. Exhale, leaning over to one side. Inhaling back up through the center, moving with your breath, exhaling opposite. Coming back up through the center. You can stay here, gazing straight ahead or up, or leaning back for a little back bend. And then we're going to fold forward. I'm going to bend the knees, bringing the heart forward and fold over the body. Maybe taking a couple breaths there in any movement that feels useful for you right now. And then I'm grounding through the feet. I'm going to start to slowly rise back up. I'm going to reach back up for the sky and then bringing my palms to the heart. And so I'm going to run through that one more time. Feel free to pause this and do this, up to 5 or even 10 times. So here we go. One more time here. I'm going to reach up for the sky. Inhale, exhale, leaning over to one side. Inhaling, coming back up. And remember, when you get to that side bend, you can hold it for a few breaths if you want, where you're just that dynamic movement, moving back and forth. Coming up back through the center, and then folding forward, Uttanasana. And again, any option of that forward fold here. Movement of the feet, of the knees, any movement and arranging of the arms. And then coming up, taking your time, pushing down through the feet, breathing, and we'll reach up and shake that off. Awesome. So I'm going to come to the top of the mat. We are going to move into downward facing dog just for a moment, and then we're going to come into tabletop. So if you want a blanket or a cushion or a pillow, lots of pillows around me. For your knees, you can go ahead and gather that as well. Cool. So I'm going to just be in the middle of my mat, and I'm going to come into down dog from that forward fold. So we've already been doing this move. I'm going to reach up, inhale. Again, you can take that option to back bend if you want. And then folding forward. So coming into your standing forward fold and taking a moment. I always take a moment to arrive in each posture, to feel my breath. And then coming into your downward facing dog. So I'm going to walk my hands forward and then my feet back because I'm on the center of my mat. And then take a couple breaths here, moving into your downward facing dog, maybe pedaling the feet, lifting the hips, the heels, just anything that feels good. And feel free to stay there for a few more breaths. And at any time, you can come down into tabletop or rest into child's pose. Nice. And then we'll meet in tabletop. So when you're ready, coming onto all fours. And again, take a few breaths here and move around in the body. So I usually move around in my hands and my shoulders, shaking and wiggling my hips side to side. So take a minute to come into the body here. And then we're going to move through cat and cow. And we're going to do it with the breath. So some other movements, more movements of our spine. I'm going to gaze up, pressing the ground away, opening up the chest, and then on the next breath, rounding the back into that cat. Right? So I'm trying to keep my arms straight here and focus that movement on the back and the body. Nice. Moving with the breath. You can stay there if that's feeling really good at the moment, or if you want to try a different angle, you can drop down onto the forearms. So I'm going to drop down to the forearms, elbows under my shoulders, and I'm going to continue breathing and continuing this movement of cat-cow on the forearms. Great variation if you're having some wrist issues. And it also is hitting different parts of my back, I can feel. And then maybe one more time there, wherever you are in your cat and cow. Awesome. And then if you're on your forearms, making your way back to the hands, and then we're going to make some spiral shapes. So circles, fluid, spirals with the body, maybe like figure eights, roundabouts. And see what kind of shapes and spirals you can make that feel good in the body. So moving around my shoulders, my hips. And sometimes it's just the hips. Sometimes it just feels good for me to circle my hips around, because I'm getting that anterior and posterior tilt of the pelvis. And as I posterior tilt of the pelvis, you see it looks kind of like a cat back. But what I'm doing here is tilting that pelvis, and for me, it gets a really nice stretch through the lower back, through the lumbar spine right there. Right. So finding what feels good as you make circles and spirals in your body. Nice. And then shake that out, let that go. And then I'm going to turn to face you guys. The next movement we're going to do is, I call it reaching under the bed. And we're going to do just one variation. There's lots of variations out there for this one. So from tabletop, I'm going to reach that right arm up. And get a nice stretch here through the chest and the shoulders. Maybe pause and take a breath here too. And then I'm going to take this arm under the body like I'm reaching under the bed looking for Smitty's toys. And I'm going to keep this hand in front of my face for support to begin with. So I have some weight on my arm, my shoulder, and my head. You can always support the head with a pillow or a blanket or whatever you have around. So from here, I'm going to give you some options. You can stay here, letting go of the weight of the head. Or you can take this arm, so this is your left arm, and reach it up towards the top of the mat. Right? You can also take that arm and reach it up to the sky, or rotate it and tuck it behind the back. Most of the time, I just let it stay in front of my face, nice and supported. Awesome. And then if that hand traveled, bring that hand back in front of the face, ground down, pressing up, and then let's stretch slowly and reach that arm back up to the sky. Nice. And then we'll lower down, and we'll do that on the other side. So I'm going to reach that other arm up taking a deep breath as I lengthen, opening the chest, and then reaching under the bed. So, totally forgot I had my sunglasses on. So getting set up, hand in front of the face. And so I can control the pressure. I can press my hand into the ground and kind of roll a little bit more into the head and the shoulder there. Right? And you can explore taking that free arm up towards the top of the mat, up towards the ceiling, or tucking it behind the back. And I'm going to stay right here with my hand in front of the face. And then notice the breath. How's the breath? Where's the breath? Good. I'm going to take one more. So bringing that hand, if it traveled back in front of the face, press down. Take your time, reaching back up, and then bringing it back down. So I'm going to pause there. Feel free to do that again if you'd like, that reaching under the bed movement, or pause, take a note of it, and then I'm going to move into child's pose. Right? And child's pose can be done a couple different ways with the knees. Sometimes I take the knees really wide and then walk the hands out so the big toes are coming towards each other, and then dropping the forehead down to the ground. Right? Whatever feels good here with the arms, stretching them out, letting them relax. Sometimes I wiggle the hips a little bit, side to side. And then the other variation I like to take child's pose is with the knees together. So they both give me different stretches. And then this one I'm going to just wrap my arms around the side body. And sometimes I grab a hold of my heels. Sometimes I just let my arms relax. Again, any movement side to side that feels good. And taking a few breaths, maybe trying each one. See what feels better right now. Awesome. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog. Okay? So take your time. I'm going to come into tabletop, curl the toes, and lifting myself up into that down dog. Any movement here that feels good. I'm going to take it into a standing forward fold, so you can lift the heels, walk the feet up towards the hands, maybe the hands back towards the feet a little bit, folding back into the body, bending your knees, letting go of the head, and then grounding down through the feet, slowly, slowly. Ooh, I'm going to come up. Nice, so taking your time, coming back up to stand, and then I want to move through. What happens when I wear a bra. I want to move through a couple lunges and twist with these lunges. And then we'll see where we go then. All right, so first we're going to come into a high lunge. So I'm going to be at the top of my mat-ish and stepping my right foot back. Right? Awesome. So reaching up to the sky. And then I'm going to frame the foot. I'm going to bring the hands down to the ground. Now, option here to grab those blocks. I'm actually going to use my blocks here. And you can use them on any height. So I'm coming into like a high runner's lunge. And I'm pressing my back heel towards the wall behind me, lifting the hips up a little bit. I might change the blocks down. I might keep them up. So now my right foot's back. I'm going to twist to the left. So I'm going to keep my right hand, so whether it's on the ground or a block, there. And I'm going to slowly twist. So I'm pressing the ground away, my right arm very strong. And this left hand can be on the thigh, the hip, or you can reach up to the sky, stacking the shoulders. And a couple breaths here. Good. Gazing up towards the ceiling or that top hand if you want. And then I'm going to release the twist. And then I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going to bring my right foot up to meet the left. And I'm going to go right into the other side. Stepping my left foot back. Any movement here as you get set up. So nice high runner's lunge. Breathe. And then grounding through my left hand, I'm going to start to begin to twist to the right. So I'm bringing my right hand to the thigh, to the hip, or up towards the sky. And then strong in that left arm. Good. One more breath there. We'll release that twist. And then I'll step it forward and fold here. Good. And then while we're here, go ahead and let's go into a low lunge. So I'm going to give you 3 different options on these lunges. I'm going to step the right foot back, dropping that right knee. So you may want to grab a pillow or a blanket for under your knee. You can continue to use the blocks under the hands, or the hands can come to the ground. Nice. And any movement here, sometimes, a lot of times I rock forward and backwards a few times as I get settled, as I get rearranged here. So making yourself comfortable here in this low lunge. And then I'm going to twist to the left again. So I'm actually going to bring this block a little bit lower. So my right hand's on the ground. I'm going to twist to the left. So my left hand's starting to come on top of my thigh. And it could stay there. You can move it to the hip or the sky. And I think I'm just going to stay on my hip. And then I'm making sure this right shoulder, I'm not collapsing and like just being lazy in it. I really want to be strong here, lifting myself up as I gaze out or even looking over my shoulder. Good. And then come out of that twist, take any movement here, and then we're going to switch legs here. So however you want to get there, you can step the back foot up, or I'm going to take it into down dog and switch that way. So I'm going to bring my right foot up and coming into that low lunge on the opposite side. And again, take your time to get here. Any movement, any rearranging of the foot, the hands, blocks, no blocks. And then as we get set up on this side, so my right foot is in front, I'm going to take my left hand down on the ground or on that block, and then right hand coming to the right thigh. Right? And then again, you have options with this hand. You can take it up to the sky, sexy arms, whatever you want there. Notice your left shoulder. Notice the breath. Awesome. Good. We'll release the twist. Any movement there in that low lunge. And then let's take it back into downward facing dog or child's pose. Right? And I'm going to bring it back up to standing. So however you want to get there. I'm going to take my time in a standing forward fold. And then coming up, I'm going to move my blocks out of the way. And the next thing we're going to do is a crescent lunge with a twist. So this one is a little bit more of a balance challenge. You can also do this in a warrior one position as well. So I'm going to do it to the side view. So when you're ready from standing, from mountain pose, I'm going to step my right foot back. And I'm staying on railroad tracks. So I'm about hips distance apart and I take that right foot straight back. So my feet are about railroad track wide, hips distance. All right, so here we go. I'm going to reach my arms up to the sky. Inhale here. Good. And then I'm going to do side bending and twisting here. So I'm going to hook my thumbs together, so it's kind of like a butterfly. And then I'm gonna inhale here in the center. Exhale, I'm gonna lean to the left side. So I'm leaning away from my back leg. Gazing wherever you like, out, up, or down. And then bringing it back to the center. Reach up here, and then taking the arms out like warrior two, twist towards the left. So you should be twisting into that front leg. Good. And then I'm going to bring it back to the center. And then release. Good. And then I'm just going to step my other foot back. So switching legs when you're ready. I'm going to step my left foot back, taking a moment to set up in my crescent lunge. Maybe some hip movement and some dancing. And then when you're ready, reaching the arms up. You can namaste the hands, Charlie Angel, Mudra, or hook the thumbs like a butterfly. I'm going to inhale here in the center. Exhale, I'm leaning to my right. So I'm leaning away from my back leg. A couple breaths there. Making my way back to the center. I'm going to inhale. Exhale, turning and twisting to my right side, opening the arms out like a T. Good. Good. And then I'm playing with that back leg. Sometimes I straighten it, sometimes I keep it bent. Good. And we'll come out of that twist. And then just step together and shake all that off. So you don't have to necessarily do all of those at one time. Those are some nice options, the low lunge, high lunge, crescent lunge, and then adding that twist for movements of the spine. So play with those in your practice and see what you find useful and helpful. So take a moment, I'm going to grab some water, and then we're going to come back and do a wide-legged forward fold. So take a moment here. Awesome. So meet me back onto your mat. I'm going to do a wide-legged forward fold. So I'm taking my legs wide. You can also have blocks here for under your hands. You can have the hands on the hips, or you can reach out, big sun breath, and then folding forward here. So just like we do in our other forward folds, any movement you want to take here. Sometimes I lift myself halfway up and walk my hands over to one side and the other. Sometimes I just hang here. Notice your breath. Sometimes I take it side to side, bending one knee, straightening the other. And that's really more of a stretch for the inside of my thigh. My hips. Good. Take your time coming back to the center. I'm going to bring the hands to the hips and then rising back up to stand. Awesome. And then let's make our way onto the backs. So however you want to get there. And so as I come onto the back, I'm going to hug the knees into the chest. And I like to rock and roll side to side or in a circle. So take your time making your way to the back. And I'm on like carpet, so it feels, it's nice. It's a little softer than like hard floors. So any movement here as you hug the knees, come on to the back of the body. Awesome. And then let's take a twist. So I'm going to take the arms out to the side like a T, and my legs are hovering at about 90 degrees, I think. And then I'm going to take them over to the right side. So you can let the arms stay here, or you can take that right hand on top of the leg for just a little bit of weight. And then gazing up to the ceiling or looking over that left shoulder. And we'll take a couple breaths here. So I love taking this movement, this spinal twist, in bed, in the morning and at night. So part of my bed yoga is taking some form of a spinal twist as I wake up in bed. And one more breath here, and then I'm going to take my legs up and over to the left side. Then any rearranging, you can also put some pillows or cushions, blankets in between the legs or under both of the legs. And then gazing up or looking over the opposite shoulder. Notice the breath. Notice where you feel the breath expanding, rising, releasing. Letting go of the weight of the arms and legs and head. And then take your time, one more breath maybe, and then bringing it back to the center. You can release into Shavasana, you can hug the knees back into the chest. Good. And then I want to take one more twist. So I'm going to take both of my legs straight out like Shavasana, and I'm going to lift my left leg up. I'm going to put that heel on the thigh, and with my right hand, I'm guiding that knee over towards the floor. As I extend my left arm out to the side like a T, I'm trying to keep my shoulders towards the ground as I draw this knee also towards the ground. And you can play with that. And I'm going to bring it back to the center, back into Shavasana, and then trying that on the other side, lifting my right leg up, heel coming to my left thigh, and my left hand helping that right knee over and across the body. So I'm taking that knee down towards the ground as I reach this arm, and right now my shoulder's flying off the ground pretty high. So I kind of do a little teeter-totter, and then just trying to find a balance here. Coming back to my breath. Good. Take your time there. If it feels good, take a couple more breaths. I'm going to start to come out of it. Nice. And then if you want, hug the knees back into the chest one more time. Excellent. And then feel free to take Shavasana on your own today. I really wanted to make this video of giving you some options of some movements to sprinkle into your practice and into your day for your lower back. So take this time now, take a few moments of mindfulness, whether sitting in a comfortable space or lying down, and enjoy some relaxation. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day.